Hi, my name is Mayssa Almumin. I'm the director of And I Was Left Behind. It is a short, visceral documentary about a memory I revisit and reflect on from my grandmother having me a story when I was young. This film was made, it came about from the time of COVID, when at a time where people could not travel anymore. And I live in Qatar, my family lives in Kuwait, my husband's family live in Finland, my children were living actually in Paris. So it was a time of you really feeling the distance between people, and this lack of mobility made me reflect a lot on the instances when my grandmother was also telling me about how in her time, traveling, around from Kuwait to Saudi Arabia to, in that region, it was obviously during that time where travel was not so ubiquitous. It was difficult to go back and visit. So when you traveled, it meant that, you were separated for a really, really long time, and, you don't receive news from the people that you love. So that's how that memory became so important to me. And I felt compelled to make this film. Yeah, so I made this film. It started off in a workshop that I did with a documentary filmmaker called Riti Pan. And it was COVID just happened, and so we had to conduct everything online, which is very difficult when you're trying to kind of talk about filmmaking. Um, but so it started off while I actually was stuck in Finland, unable to travel back to Qatar. So I started the film shooting it in Finland. And then when I finally, like about a month and a half of trying to get back to Qatar because of all the COVID regulations, then I came back, I shot it in a completely different way while I was in quarantine. And then when I came out of quarantine, I decided to reflect on how to make this film again. So I kind of made this film technically 3 times over in 3 different versions. It's almost like The Five Obstructions by Jorgen Leth or something. And Lars von Trier was just like you keep taking the same topic and reshooting it in different locations. And what you see is the film that I finally shot. Because it was so small, because it was so zero budget, this is the very first time that I started to become confident in saying that I am a filmmaker, because I had to be so involved in every different aspect. So even though the films that I've made before may have had a much bigger budget and funds and grants and went to, lots of festivals, it's this one that touches people, on a very personal level, I find. So it's interesting that my smallest film, I feel, has become kind of my biggest success as a filmmaker. Trusting the process, um, uh, kind of there's a learning to be a bit more patient and to let go, because you want to have everything somewhere, and I think challenging myself to do something so short gave me the biggest lesson. So I'm usually I'm very attached to every shot. You get people together, you set everything together, you put the camera, you put that time, and then when it comes to the editing, it's really difficult to let it go. But yeah, what is it that they say? You write one film, you shoot another film, and when you edit it, it ends up being a completely different film. And so this one really taught me that lesson. I love it. I love the fact that I'm in this particular festival because I have screened my last film, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. So it's kind of a festival that's close to my heart. I love the films that are screened in it, and I'm especially happy that this particular year that I'm here in person, and so to really experience it. And Paris is very special to me. Like I said, my children live there. I had my honeymoon there many years ago, so it would be nice to come back, in this setting. So I'm really excited.